If you could change one thing about yourself, is there something you would change right now?
To learn to know what all this knowledge I know 20 years ago. Not take this long to learn it.
Taking over pieces and shares of all big sky high. Check the movement is here. Yeah. Yeah. It's one heart, one shot. Now the future is yours. Go.
Hi, this is Sean Purcell. We're in the Compass Studio, and today I have the one and only Tony Elias joining me. I can't wait to do this. Tony, welcome.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you for having me.
I'm really glad you're here. I know that you talked to me beforehand about a number of questions that I should not ask you because you'd have to plead the fifth. So I'll try to stay within the bounds. Start with where you grew up. Tell us about where you grew up, Tony.
Great question. So I grew up in San Diego County. I was a native here, or I am
Wow.
a native here. And
There's not many natives really in San Diego.
No, I actually was born at Kaiser on Zion,
Really?
right here in the central San Diego. And
Wow.
I grew up in East County, and I still live in East County. So that's why I sell most of my homes out there.
It's your neighborhood.
It's my neighborhood.
Okay, so what was your first job growing up out here?
First job was working in construction with my dad.
Yeah?
He's a contractor. And that's what got me into starting to like housing, building houses, selling houses. I was intrigued with it all.
Really? It
Yeah.
started doing that, helping
Yeah.
your dad with construction?
Yeah. Figured it was
that's
easier
cool.
to sell the home than it was to build the home with
Yeah.
the heat of San Diego.
It seemed that way at the time. Is it true?
Yeah.
It's still true?
It's still
Okay.
true.
So did you go right into real estate or did you have a career before real estate?
No, so I did construction, then I went to work for a car insurance company, Geico,
Mm-hmm.
selling insurance, and I figured if I could sell car insurance, I could sell real estate.
Little
So
bigger
that was
ticket.
yeah, so that was my first real job was working at Geico, and then I started dabbling into real estate, wanted to flip. So
Mhm.
I learned to get my license first, and then I said if I had the discipline here, I could do it there.
And it turns out you're one of the people with a lot of discipline in this business. I mean,
I
you're known
try.
for it. I'm
Discipline equals freedom.
discipline equals freedom. It's true, right?
It is true.
You didn't hear it here first, but it's true.
No.
So what's the best part about being a real estate agent?
Best part is just taking something so complicated in the eyes of a buyer and seller and simplifying it.
Mm. Is that
Making
where you,
it that's where I get the joy out of this business is taking someone from point A to point Z step by step and making it feel easy and smooth for them. Because in life, that's what I want people to do for me when I don't know how to do something.
so it's the golden rule.
Walk me through it.
Hmm. It's not actually simple, right? You're
It's
just
not.
taking on a lot of the
Right.
stresses and the problems.
Over the years, I've learned to manage the emotions and
Mhm.
take that out of the deal for the client and be their calming force to get them through the whole process without stressing out.
Right? Because it's stressful.
Very stressful. The biggest asset of their life.
What do you do with all that? You're taking their stress in. How do you release it?
I do my meds.
You do your meds?
I meditate, I exercise, diet, and sleep.
There it is.
That's my meds for the day.
That's what allows you to keep going.
That's what allows me to stay calm and do what I could do and be the best I could be for my clients.
What do you like least about being a real estate agent?
What I like least about being a real estate agent is the lack of experience needed to start helping someone with their biggest asset in this business.
Hmm.
You know, from a new licensed agent to being able to help a client is almost immediate, and there's not enough, I feel, education for the new agents before they should be able to go out and start selling houses and helping people buy homes with all the contracts and legalities involved
And the liabilities.
and the liabilities.
So
That's the biggest.
it's really a comment on the absolute responsibility. When you're an agent, you're taking on a lot of
A
responsibility.
lot. And if you don't know what you're doing or you don't know what the contract says, you're putting your client at risk as well
Mhm.
as you.
How long do you think it takes? How long did it take you to get from I like doing this, but I don't know if I really know what I'm doing to I got this?
I think it took me a good 5 years. in
5
the
years.
business. Yeah. And still till this day.
Mhm.
I mean, 20 years later, I still tell my clients I learn something new on every transaction.
It's changing all the time.
It changes all the time. And if you're not on top of it, you're behind.
And you're behind with somebody else's biggest investment of all time.
Yeah. Their equity.
You can just, this is one of the things I love talking to you about. It's all sounds simple, but you get to see why people will go to you and have you as their agent. You get it.
Yeah.
From beginning to end, you get it.
Yeah.
If
Done
you-
it enough.
We've done it enough. It's a come back to experience, right?
Right. It's experience,
So other than that now, no cheating, because we already talked about experience. If you were going to share one secret to being successful in this industry, what would it be?
I think the magical pill for this business is consistency.
Consistency.
Consistency. Doing it every single day and mastering the repetitious boredom of this business and mastering the skills needed and the sales skills needed, as well as the discipline needed, and doing it consistently every day is going to win the race. I always say consistency is going to create that emotional stability.
The
Without it,
consistency
you're up and
creates the
down.
stability. Now you said the repetitious boredom.
Right.
Tell me more about that.
Doing the same thing every day and learning to accept that and adapt to it. For me, it's looking for new clients every day, doing the same things every day, doing my meditations, exercise, dieting, sleeping every day to eventually produce and be where I need to be in my life. Like,
That's not easy.
no, it's like blind faith. You have to become that person before you get what you want.
You have to believe and have faith that you are that person before it actually happens.
Yep.
And then act.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've accomplished a lot. I mean, you're pretty well known in this industry. You have a lot of clients. What do you think, in or out of the industry? I don't mean to make it only about work. What are you most proud of?
I think what I'm most proud of is my ability to problem solve.
Really?
I'm most proud of it. I could take in all of the facts, I could take in all the scenarios, and then come up with solutions. I'm solution driven, not problem driven. And in this business, if you're problem driven, you're going to drive yourself to the grave.
You're going to find them, right?
You're going to find problems everywhere. So you got to be solution driven in this business.
So solutions driven.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the problems. They'll come.
Right. Oh, they're going to come. And they make you stronger.
This
Right.
may feed into the next question I want to ask, without mentioning names, of course. Tell me about the the strangest agent or oddest agent you've had to deal with.
Gosh, there's a lot. But
I thought you were going to say there's so many good agents. I can't say.
the strangest agent I had to deal with is the agents that are, I call them fire hosers, that
Mhm.
have to create a problem out of everything. And I deal with those a lot. I feel like sometimes they feel like they have to create problems to make themselves feel like what they're getting paid for is earned.
Oh,
But
yeah.
in reality, they're causing more stress for the transaction, their seller, their buyer, us other realtors involved, and everybody. So my biggest stories are the ones that just everything is a big deal. I don't like those kind of agents.
Fire hosers.
Fire hosers. Let's be problem solvers.
I don't think I've ever heard that before. They're not solutions driven.
No,
they're
no,
problem
they
driven.
want to create a problem out of everything. You know?
I've seen it. I just never put a word to it.
Yeah, and this business is already stressful as is, and sellers are already high strung, and buyers are already high strung, and everybody's emotions are all in the mix.
Mhm.
Last thing they want is a realtor creating more problems in their
Right.
head.
Amping it up.
Be the calming force because it's not your property. Stay out of it. That's why they hire us.
Right. In the end, it's not. Your job is to facilitate.
Right, and keep the emotions out of the deal.
Have you ever had a client, out of all these clients that you've had, that really touched your heart? That really made a difference?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
It was a client that at the time she was, she just lost her son and her husband, drunk driving incident. And
Oh,
she was living on her own and she had all this equity but no money, couldn't survive, couldn't eat, and was looking to solutions from me. And I was able to help her out yet at the same time get her home on the market, cash her a lot of equity, and then find her a home in a different state where she was able to pay it off, live right next to her friend, and not have to stress about money. That's what made this job really important to me. We're
Hmm.
changing lives versus having people sit there with no solution. I
Right. It's
feel
not
like
just a
there's
home.
right,
You changed her entire life.
right. Until this day, she still calls me thinking that that all happened, and I pushed her to make it happen.
I wonder if people are aware of how many hats you have to wear. I mean, there you're being a grief counselor. You're doing a lot of things
Yeah,
that have nothing to do with just the house itself.
no, we're salespeople, we're therapists, we're counselors, we're
Hmm.
we're everything. We hear it all.
Wow. Okay. Uh, so saying that, what would your friends say you do for a living? If we went and asked them, what exactly does Tony do for a living? What would they say?
No, I don't really talk much about what I do
Hmm.
outside of work. They would probably just say I'm a realtor that helps people buy and sell homes. They don't know the day to day that goes on. I try to keep two different coats on,
Hmm.
my business coat on, and when I'm home, it's the husband father coat on.
Really?
I
You
try
were
to
able to leave
separate
it
the two.
behind.
Yep. My coach once told me, visualize it as you wearing a coat. And when
Hmm.
you get home, when you get to work, you're putting on your work coat. When you get home, you're taking off your work coat, you're hanging it up, you're putting on your husband, father coat on.
Hmm.
And keep that out, keep this in.
Your
And
family
ever since,
deserves you.
right. So ever since that happened, that changed my whole view of life because I was always bringing the work home.
Right.
Nobody wants to hear about all the work and the problems and the things we got to deal with.
Hmm.
So I've learned to keep those two separate.
The work coat and the home family coat.
Yeah.
I'm going to use that if you don't mind.
Go
I
ahead.
think that's really good.
Go ahead.
What made you choose to come to Compass? Because you were one of the early, they call founding agents.
Right.
What did you see that made you say, yeah, that need to be there?
So I've worked for Century 21 for about 18 years
Hmm.
or 17, somewhere around there. And I've realized that I've been approached by many brokerages in the past. And I always told myself if I was ever to leave a brokerage, I didn't want it to be a lateral move.
Hmm.
And every brokerage out there to me seemed the same. They were independently ran by franchisees that could only spend what they could afford
Hmm.
to help better their agents. Whereas Encompass came along and blew me away. They hired the correct staff. They put the money towards their agents in bettering their agents, giving them the tools
Hmm.
and systems we need to then better our service towards our sellers and our buyers and helping our sellers getting more money for their homes and our buyers having more choices for homes to buy. Now there was a solution for our clients, not something that was just flashy that made me want to run there and then have the same systems as the old company.
Right.
This took me to a different level.
It wasn't a shiny object.
No,
It actually changed your business.
right. And they continue to do so, and they continue to fulfill the words they said they were going to do. There's no empty promises here.
That answers my next question. You made that decision. Was it a good one?
Yes, absolutely. It was a tough choice. 17 years. I'm not the type of agent that bounces around from company to company.
Hmm.
I give them my loyalty, my support. And so it was a tough decision. And when I made that leap, it's been the best leap I've made.
If you don't mind me asking, in front of all these people,
Yeah.
your volume the last 12 months, roughly what are you doing per year now?
In commissions,
No, in volume.
in volume,
30,
we did about 48 million last year.
48 million
Yeah, in
last year.
sales.
You and your team.
Yeah.
Do you think Compass played a part in that?
Yeah,
There-
absolutely.
Your business grew after you came here.
Compass played a big part in that and taking out the stresses of the things that we need, the
Mm.
tools we need, getting them to us as fast as they can. And in turn, that gives us the ability to go out there and do what we need to do.
Right.
And not have to wait, such as
Freed you up
marketing.
to get in front of people.
Right.
Which is what you do well.
Right. It leveraged out my time to then have marketing people work on my marketing stuff, taking all the other stuff, all the noise out of the business so I can
Mhm.
focus on buying and selling. We've had our best 2 years here at Compass that I've had in my whole 20 years.
Wow. That's saying something.
does.
Well, I'm glad. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, I'm biased, but I'm glad. Uh, so, what inspires you, Tony?
What inspires me is being able to, I mean, a lot of things inspire me, but I mean, I think the most thing that inspires me, that motivates me to be the best me every single day. I don't look at competition. I don't feel there's competition.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the number one why, the number one thing to inspire me every single day is to become the best me every single day. Who was I yesterday and am I better today? And if I'm improving every single day, then I'm achieving my why, which is to become the best husband I can be, the best real estate agent I can be for my clients, the best, you know, brother I could be, best son.
Do you ask yourself that question at the end of every day?
I do.
Was I better today than yesterday?
Was I better today than yesterday? Did I do everything I could do today to have the best day possible to then achieve the goals in the future? And what am I grateful for today? I never beat myself on what I didn't do.
And I love the way you worded it. It's not, did I do everything I could to be successful?
Mm-hmm.
It was, did I do everything I could to be the best me I could?
Right. Right.
That's a subtle but huge difference.
It is. And I learned that from Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn used to always say, success is not to be pursued, it's to be attracted by the person you become. And that was the quote that changed my whole career, because I was always chasing the business, always chasing to become better versus becoming better. And then everything else will come to me.
Flows to you.
So focus on being the best me I could be. The rest will come into play.
If you could change one thing about yourself, is there something you would change right now?
If I could change one thing about myself, it would be to learn to know what all this knowledge I know 20 years ago. Not take this long to learn it, but it was a long journey. I look back, every step of the way was crucial, but if I could change one thing was to learn this quicker.
Unfortunately, I don't think we ever get to shortcut that, do
Nope.
we? It's all about the experience.
It's all about the experience.
Okay, if you had a billboard and it could say anything, what would it say?
Oh my God. I had a billboard. What could it say? Don't know.
Besides for your best realtor call.
Yeah, right?
what would the
Hey,
real-
for a home valuation, call here. I mean, if I had a billboard.
We're going to scroll Tony's number down beneath now. It's just a big commercial.
I don't.
Not sure what you'd put on a billboard?
I wouldn't know. I
Okay.
wouldn't know. I don't.
I'll go at you a different way. If you knew you could not fail,
Uh-huh.
what project would you take on right now?
Oh, wow. If I knew I would not fail, what project would I take on? I would take on the music industry.
Really?
I love producing music.
Really?
I love playing with music, sounds. If I knew I couldn't fail, I would be in the music industry as a producer.
As a producer?
Yeah.
Wow. Look,
Yeah.
this is probably the first time you've heard that.
Right? Completely
Something
different
new.
from real estate.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
There's another thing. I don't know if you're all noticing this, the people who aren't sales driven, but a good salesperson often repeats what's said to make the other person feel heard. And you do that so naturally.
I try.
It's very good. Okay. If you could have dinner with any three people, living or dead, who would you have dinner with?
I looked at that question and I tried to come up with the answers on that. It would be a tough one.
Okay.
There's a lot of people.
Be tough to narrow down.
Be tough to narrow down. Definitely would be. I would look at the biggest people. I would look at the people that have outside of the box thinking. Like I would like to sit with Albert Einstein. I would like to sit with the guys that think big, Tesla, back in the days, and people like that to see what their train of thought was, what made them them.
Just watch them work. Watch
Right.
their brain work.
Right. It amazes me. I'm all about the mind, and I like to learn as much as I can about the mind, how to get the full
I would
potential
want to be
out of
invited
it.
to that dinner.
Right?
That would be a long, long dinner.
It would, because things he said 100 years ago are now just making sense to people
Mm-hmm.
and being proved. So where was he getting this
Right. How is he working differently from
from?
everybody
Right.
else?
That's what I would like to know.
One of my heroes.
The
Albert
great
Einstein.
inventors. Yeah.
So, okay, in a minute I'm going to get to the 10 questions, but the last question I have is kind of from a
Questions.
coaching perspective. The 10 questions. From a coaching perspective, I tell people I feel that the most powerful words in the world are any words that follow I am. So I want you to finish that sentence. I am
Grateful.
grateful.
Hmm.
The,
I'm grateful for everything.
the 10 questions came from Inside the Actors Studio show that I think it's still on, but he ended every interview with the same 10 questions for everybody.
Really.
And I modified them a little because some weren't exactly family safe, but so these are the 10 questions. Tony, what
Fire.
is your favorite word?
Favorite word is abundance.
Abundance.
Yeah.
What is your least favorite word?
Fear.
What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of the ocean.
What sound or noise do you hate?
That'd be crazy.
Really?
Hear that all the time.
If crickets. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
Fly.
To fly.
Imagine how fast I can get to listing appointments. No traffic.
It's a good answer.
Right?
Okay. How do you cure a hangover?
I don't really get hangovers, but when I do, I guess Gatorade.
Gator-
Pedialyte.
Gatorade? See if we
Drink
can get a
some
plug.
Pedialyte.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt? I think we may have just heard it.
Yeah. Music producer.
business. What profession would you not like to do?
Construction.
Been there, done that.
Been there, done that, and don't want to go back to that.
Where's your favorite spot in San Diego?
It's a nice Sunset Cliffs.
Mm.
It's my favorite spot.
Mm.
Hang out there and just enjoy the sound of the waves.
The sound, your favorite sound.
Yep.
Last question. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
I'm proud of you.
I'm proud of you. That's a great answer.
Right?
This is awesome. I really appreciate you doing this with me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Elias.
Working on the plot and the scheme. The true style trademark is at the edge of your dreams. I'm talking one shot for the kill. The breeze cut, freeze up, straight dropping the chills. I'm talking taking over pieces and shares. A bomb break sky high. Check the movement is here.